What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. We are live now. I want to check to see if my audio's working. So, if anybody is in chat, let me know, confirm with me that the sound is good so we can continue. Let me know. Mic check 1 2. Let me know sound is good. We don't have anybody yet here on chat, so let me just check the moderator right here, aka the wifey. Sounds good. Okay, so let's go. Let's go. Happy Friday. Oh man. Super excited to jump on here and just have a rant. That's what we're gonna do today. We're just gonna talk, casually. I'm gonna welcome anybody up to the stage if they're welcome to do that. I'll put a link in soon. But been busy at work, man. Traveling for work, going on the road, driving, for a long time. So a little out of touch to what's been breaking news. But one thing that I do know that's out there right now is the Omega. So that new Swatch watch came out, so we'll throw that up on there eventually. But today's just really going to be about just talking about watches in general. Whatever you guys want to throw in to add, let me know. The first thing that we'll do is we'll do a wrist check, and let me switch to Cam 2 for that. Okay, getting fancy over here. Yeah. So this is what's on wrist right now. This is for, I guess I was inspired to wear this because of the new Moon Swatch coming out. And I get a lot of people asking me about the bracelet on this. Everybody always asks me, not the bracelet, the strap rather. I got this from AliExpress, guys, $10. I added this metal clip to it just to make it a little fancy, and make it easier to clip on. But that's what I'm wearing on wrist today. Of course, I got my double wrist Apple Watch as usual. But yeah, man, we'll talk about it. Let me remove that real quick. So that's pretty much the only thing that I'm aware of that's come out is that Moon Swatch. But I have a couple of things that I want to put on the board that I want to talk about first. So the first thing I want to talk about is how many watches do you own? Um, it's just a question of pretty much where you guys are at in your collection. How many have you guys gathered over the time? Are you overstocked on things and you have to get rid of some watches? For myself, I have, excluding the watches that have like real sentimental value, I have about 31. I'm floating around 31, 32 watches. Um, that's where I want to be at specifically. DMW, what's up, brother man? Thanks for coming in. Um, Mom of many. Wow, dad and mom is here on chat. What's up, guys? Welcome. Uh, I own, like I said, I own around about 40 something watches, but 31 of them are ones that I put in my collection. The other ones are watches that were gifted to me and have sentimental value, so I don't really count that. You guys that just jumped on chat, man, let me know how many watches you own in your collection. If you want to jump on stage, you're more than welcome. I'll put the invite out there real quick. Hold on. Let's put that up there. Let's see. And there you go. All right, guys. I posted the link on there. If you want to hop on stage, you're more than welcome, like I said. But I like to stick around 31 for the fact that I like to rotate my watches daily. Sometimes I'll hang around with a watch for a couple of days, but at the end of the day, I like to have one per the longest day of the month, and that's just the way that I've been able to narrow down, how many I want to own, like in totality of it. So DMW, I have 20 at the moment. Wow. I'm surprised, brother, because I obviously you mod watches, so I would expect for you to have more than that, to be honest with you. You have great self-control, my guy. You could pretty much make whatever watch you want to, right? And you have that freedom to add as many as you want to the collection. So that's pretty cool that, you don't have too many. You keep it around 20 watches. That's cool. Mom of many also has 20 watches. Okay, that's cool. I mean, listen, there's a lot of people that have way more than that in their collection. So you guys are showing some self restraint here. And 20 watches, I think, is a very good number. I think that, at the end of the day, it's a personal thing. It's however many you want. So, but 20 watches is a pretty solid number, I would say so. So that's the first thing I wanted to just throw out there as far as the questions for the evening. Here's another one. Is one watch considered a collection? There's people out there. I know they have three watches in their collection, and they pretty much stick to around that. But is having one watch considered a collection? I don't know. My vote, to be honest with you, is I say yeah. I say yeah. Even if you have one watch in your collection, I still think that you can call yourself a collector, right? You can take that one watch, you can upgrade it, you can keep it. A lot of people like to wear the same watch for a long time and they get really attached to it. So, I'm very accepting of many different, styles and everything else. For me, if you have a watch, that's all that I pretty much need for you to consider you a collector. So, for me, if you have one watch, man, I really feel like you're in the club already. So, Mama many. Well, so far, okay. So we're planning to add more to that collection of 20. I'm guessing that's what you meant by well so far. Probably going to add more in there. So right now with my collection, I have my collection on ice. I'm enjoying the watches that I have. I want to be very selective of what I put into the collection moving forward. I'm gathering a lot of information right now as far as like these independent brands, because that's just been like where I've been gravitating to go next. And with that, I think that there's tremendous amount of value in independent brands. I mean, I think I talk about them every time I'm on here, but I just want to be selective of where I go next with the collection, man. I want to do some research on them and really, take my time and see what I want to put forward. Because when I first started off, I actually was putting a lot of watches that are commercialized, a lot of watches that you see on YouTube. Um, Obviously, that's the biggest platform that I gain knowledge from watches, and all of like the cult classics. I mean, if you call them out right now, if you call out like the SKX, if you call out the Seagull 1963, if you call out any watch that's pretty much having a cult classic, is something that's already in my collection. So I don't want to say that I regret that, because I don't, but I feel like I'm ready for a step up. I'm ready for a luxury feel. So independent brands is something that I'm looking at now. But at the same time, I'm taking my time to really just do some research on what I want to do next. You know what I mean? Dave Deeds in the building. What's up, brother, man? How are you? How's everything, man? How's your Friday going? I dropped the link in the chat if you want to hop on, anybody, just so you guys know, for those who just joined us. But yeah, man, one watch collection, I consider it. I could see the argument to not, but at the end of the day, that person could be somebody who just only wants to wear a watch to have one on, kind of like that classic style, like back in the day. Our dad's dad, they really wore a watch and they utilized the watch, right? Because phones weren't a thing. And they wore that watch every day. That's something that probably has tremendous amount of value to somebody if it was passed on. So it's a little different nowadays, right? With all the marketing and watches being more of like an accessory to speak to volumes of who you are, and just like your style and everything else. So, we find a lot of different watches to put on wrist nowadays, and we don't have to use them for time like how they were utilized back in the day. So, you know, we have a lot of fun with it, and we're consumers, at the end of the day. All right, so here we go. This is a good question. What is the maximum number of watches that you want to own at once? So this can obviously change through time. Yeah, like you can obviously go up and down at any point in time of collecting. Uh, for me, I think that you know that's something that can easily change, and it has changed for me. I didn't think I even had a cap at first, when I first started collecting, but now once I came to that conclusion that I wanted to be around 31 minus all those like watches that were sentimental, you know that became what was my maximum number of what I'm putting into my collection, and that was pretty much it for that. DMW, we're gonna welcome this man to the stage. He's got a big smile on. You guys can't see it, but I can. Modder of the year. Let's bring him out. Bring him out. What's up, bro? You?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank God.
Good,
Everything is
good,
good. No complaints over here.
good.
Busy week. I'm a little bit slacking as far as what has came out, what's the new news of news, what's the newest watched and everything else. But, yeah, I have this time on Friday to reconnect, talk to you guys and see what's going on.
Good, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I got to ask you, man. Once you come to the stage, you bring a certain kind of energy, and that energy is the modification. I know you're probably working on watches now for customers. So anything new that you're working on?
Currently, waiting on parts, man. Kind of the story of my life at the moment. But
Yeah.
other than that, I'm waiting on some Swiss parts. I want
Okay.
to make, I want to make a Swiss watch for myself. So,
Okay.
but I found a supplier who I'm gonna try out, see what happens. Other than
Yeah.
that,
Absolutely.
now I got a few builds on the bench, just waiting to do some videos. That's weekend work.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. The work that goes into the videos you make, I don't think people realize, like, when you're trying to video customizing watches, it's no easy feat. So bravo to you, man. And yeah, I
Cheers,
get the
man.
waiting game as far as like waiting for parts. I order a lot of my parts when I'm modding from AliExpress, going with the NH35. So, even from that, it's a 2 month wait. I mean, not a 2 month, excuse me, like 2 to 4 weeks, I would say, wait. I've been pretty fortunate with stuff coming in, but it sucks like when you get the movement and you don't have the rest of it, and you're kind of like you're doing that rock when you're ready to just go and build and everything else. So I definitely
Yeah.
understand that, man. So what's your answer to the maximum number of what are you so you said you have 20 watches in the collection. What's your max, man? Do you have a max? What's going on?
I got 20 currently, right? But
Hmm.
that's gonna be rotating like really fast here. So, I want to get rid of a few and save up for something a little bit different as well. I know I heard you saying kind of the same. You want to maybe make a next step up for in the purchases. Yeah, I just did that recently, just out of curiosity. A guy local to me, had this. Oh, you can't even see it. There we go.
Yes, yeah, your back screen is like blurring
Yeah,
out.
I'll show you that in a sec too. But it's a Steinhardt,
Oh,
eh?
you
And
did
it's
that
just,
video, right?
yeah. Be honest. Yeah. Okay, it's a sub homage, straight up. But the build quality for what it is, for the price, like it's a Salida SW200. So it's got a
Hmm.
Swiss movement. Apparently, all the parts are sourced by Steinhardt in Switzerland, shipped to Germany, assembled. So it's a Swiss German watch.
Mm.
So, but the finishings, dude, the finishing's on point, man. It's not like the mod parts that I get a hold of. But for the price that they want for one of these brand new, like I think brand new, 490 euro, whatever the hell that works out to, right? So, but that's not bad. That's under $1,000, well under $1,000 for like a Swiss movement, and it's extremely well put together. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no, absolutely, man. I saw the video
I was
on it,
pretty surprised.
and it was kind of like it was right on time almost. I mean, we were speaking about homage watches the other time, right? And when I saw that video, I was like, man, that's really nice. I mean, you talk about, you could get something from Pagani Design, you could get something from Invicta. I mean, there's plenty of subs out there, right? But as
Oh yeah,
far as like a quality homage or a quality look to it, I mean, that one looked like it was an absolute home run. And if you're just willing to stretch the dollar a little bit and you find value in that kind of quality, I mean, that was a phenomenal watch, man. I think you should. I think you
yeah.
were asking like if you should hang on to it or not. I think you should definitely hang on to it at least for a little bit. Really see how
Well,
you feel about it.
I'm hanging on to this one because the guy that I bought it from is he's got another one, and he offered me just an even better deal. He's like, oh yeah, I didn't know you were that interested. Hey, I got another one if you want it. So I'm picking that one up this weekend too, and
Nice.
that one's more of the vintage look, but that's where I'm gonna start farting around, because I don't like the Cyclops on this one, but I like the parts of the other one. So I'm gonna swap these out, make one that I want, and then I'm gonna start using the parts off the other one and mess with the parts that I have coming in, and I don't know, see what happens after that.
Just have fun with it,
Learn
right?
how
But
to,
that's what it's all about.
yeah, exactly.
No, yeah, that's awesome, man. Congratulations on that piece, man. Congratulations on the next piece that comes out. I can't wait to see the video for it.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, man.
I definitely want to see what you end up doing to it down the road. Keep us posted with that for sure, man.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So what's my next question here? This is just a random rant, by the way. I don't know if you caught the intro. We're just going off the top, some random questions here. We're just, hang back, relaxing on this Friday. So what is your favorite style of watch and why? I'll let you go first.
Oh, me? Dive watch.
Yeah. Any particular reason?
No, not really. I like fiddling with the bezel. Let's be honest. It's about it, man. I go diving as much as anybody else. I live in the prairies, man. I'm 1,500 kilometers from an ocean, so like 1,000 miles from the ocean. So,
Gotcha. So just aesthetics, right?
Yeah, you got it, man. That bezel action. After that, it'd be a chronograph. I have no use really for dress watches. I don't dress up that much. I don't wear a suit and tie too often.
Gotcha. Yeah, man. So divers are definitely my favorite, and I have to say, first of all, it's definitely aesthetics. But I'm with you. I love that fidgety type of feel to the bezel. I think that's why a lot of people even start ranking the quality of the clicks and everything else. Like they just want to make sure it's aligned and it's clicking correctly, and it's just like a pure like listen. I think most people are not using it for diving, but it's just fun to like know that it has that rating, and like when it's raining outside, you can go, yeah, I can go 300 feet in the water, 300 meters in the water, and not worry about it. So it's all fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's our next one here?
So you asked earlier about you weren't so sure about what's coming up next and things like that. Have you seen this one?
Oh,
the Admiral GMT release that's coming out in like
no,
11
I didn't check
days.
that out.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, I haven't checked that out. So is that like a watch that looks like it has a ton of lume on it all over it? I mean, even on the dial, I could see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn that off, and I think it's slowing you down here a bit. But yeah, the lume is ridiculous, man. But it's I guess they're going DLC coded, not PVD coded now. So a step up, which is kind of nice.
Right. Yeah, I haven't done my homework on it, but I've heard a few people say that the DLC coding is better than that. So I definitely want to check that out, do a little investigation.
Yeah, from what I've seen, it lasts a lot longer. It's I think I checked on their site, the Vickers is 500 Vickers versus 1 point something for just regular 316 steel. So substantially hard makes so. But yeah, I reached out to the owner there, Kevin, and I'm managing to get one of those in sooner than their launch date for a review. So it's in the mail. Actually, I just talking to him yesterday. I just ordered it from him. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure what he's going to send me. I gave him a few options, but I have to see. It's going to be a surprise when it gets here.
A little bit of surprise for you, exactly. I mean, it may be a little bit of not hurting you, but a little bit lagging on as far as you doing some homework and being able to release a video out first. But again, it's still a nice surprise. You don't know what you're going to get when you open it up,
Hey, that's okay. I don't really mind, honestly. Hey, whatever. I'll get it in and I'll have a video out for, before the launch. Good enough.
Very true. No, that's awesome, brother. I'll definitely keep my eyes peeled for that release video. So, next question. What is the maximum amount you have spent on a watch, and what is your future maximum amount that you think you'll spend?
Hmm. Does that include all the parts for a single watch?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Then I would say I probably just did that for the
Okay.
Swiss parts. Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
it was like altogether about 550
Okay.
Canadian. So what? I don't know. Shit, buck and a half American.
Yeah, I have no idea what that translates to American. I would have to jump on Google over here for
I
that.
it's 550, probably about four and a quarter.
Okay. Okay. So hey, listen, you're gonna put together a phenomenal watch, man, and that just goes into the conversation of, for those people on the edge of like, I don't know if I should dabble with customizing and stuff. You never know where your journey might take you. And then
For
when you're
sure.
ordering those parts, right, and you're assembling yourself, you're saving yourself a lot of money. You're saving yourself a lot of money. I mean, it's obviously not going to be brand name, but you're getting the movement inside there. You could get the quality
Yeah.
pieces and everything else. So you're going to put together a phenomenal watch that could probably sell for double of what you're putting,
Well,
into it in cost.
I hope so. This one's going to be kind of a shot in the dark because, like I say, I've never used this supplier before. I'm I'm not getting any kind of a deal from him as of yet. I don't know the quality of the parts once I get them. All
Mhm.
I know is he's got a hell of a lot of really good reviews, like a substantial amount of really good reviews. So I
Mhm.
figured it's worth a shot in the dark, right? Try
Yeah, and
out,
I'm confident that you
get the
know what
parts
you're
for
doing,
one and
man.
see where it goes. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know what you're doing. I mean, it's like anything else. When we go on Amazon, when we shop anywhere else, we look at the reviews. We see, what are people saying about the customer service and everything else. So I'm gonna put my money on
Yeah.
that. The quality parts are gonna be there. I mean, look, you could return them at the end of the day. I don't know how much of a hassle that'll be for you, but you'll probably put together something real nice.
Well, I hope so. Anyway, yeah. But yeah, like you say, man, that's the whole point that people need to understand, and that's the lesson of all of that, right? Is you're buying the seller, not just the product. Buy the seller first.
Yep, absolutely, and that even goes for these brands. At the end of the day, you have to
Oh yeah,
buy whatever wherever they're currently at. A lot of them have the history, and a lot of people are comfortable with going with them. But you never know what you may get with a production run. You never know where the company is currently with their customer service. So I mean, doing your homework, whether or not you're going to do a custom mod or you're going to buy from a big brand, always an important thing to do for sure.
exactly.
Absolutely. So for me, the maximum amount I spent was my T-Salt, my PRX. Uh, at the time, that bad boy, if you were going like top dollar, if you were really like not getting a deal, which it's hard not to on the watch, I think it was floating around $700 after taxes and everything else. I got it. I actually went to an AD and he had some on display, and I knew I definitely wanted the watch. For me, it was my first step into luxury. And it's something that I was treating myself for a promotion that I got, starting with a new company and everything else. So I purchased that
Nice.
watch. I want to say I shook him down, man. I negotiated like the watch was like thousands of dollars. But I got him down to, I believe, like $500 with taxes. Like he really hooked it up for me. So
Nice. That's great.
moving forward, though, how much will I spend on a watch? It's tough to say, you know, altogether. I mean, you just did it, so it's easier for you. But I think I'm comfortable with anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 at this point, knowing that I'm sitting back and I'm putting my watches on ice and I'm taking my time. Obviously, you get some time to build up the funds and everything else. But
Yeah.
I also would like to tie it together. Like that watch, the Tissot watch, was a little bit more special to me because I'll always remember the reason why I got it. Right? It wasn't like just
Yeah.
watching videos of being, don't get me wrong, the videos got me too, but it was tied together with that moment. And I think that that's how I want to do things moving forward, and allowing myself some time to do that research and then get something for 1,000 to 1,500. And again, we're talking about an independent brand. So as you know, I'm going to get something of value, and I'm pretty much going to work with a company that's independent that I know really cares about their watches, are going to have phenomenal service. And I think that with independent brands, you get that a lot because those guys are super passionate. I mean, to go into selling watches for a living, independently is, you got to love it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah.
not easy doing all that research and making all those connections and connecting the dots, if you will. So,
You
but
got
at
it,
the end of
man.
the day, man, I'm purchasing a watch that's gonna come with that special story, and then I'll know the special story of that independent brand of why they got into it. So I think when you match the two, it's gonna be a phenomenal thing. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much where I'm gonna go. And like I said, 1,000 to 1,500, I think I could get anything I want. I mean, it could be less than
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have to be
That's
that
the
high.
brilliance of micro brands, man. Micro brands are going to be the next big thing for a while yet, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me look at chat here. Space is here. What's up, Space? How are you, brother, man? Always showing love, always coming through.
What's up,
Um,
Space?
Wifey's on here. So she's like 1,000 to 1,500. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you busted, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I forgot. No, she knows I'm really responsible with it, and I've told her that I'm gonna downsize, and I mod watches, so I make a little money on the side doing that, and
Yeah.
everything is responsible. All the bills are paid and all the investments are down. So
And that's the
watches are less
important
and less.
part, man. That's the important
Yeah,
part. This is money on the side. This is extra.
yeah.
You
These are
don't
toys
expect
that
to get back out of it, especially at the $1,500 mark. You're going to wear and enjoy that watch. You're not going to expect to make that as an investment. That's for sure. You're not
no
talking a
way.
Rolex,
No
so
way. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And to be honest with you, it's my own opinion. A lot of respect for anybody who uses Rolexes as a investment, but I don't see it, man. It's just
No.
it's not for me. It's not something that
No.
I'll ever do for pure investment. And I think that takes a lot of the fun that we have with the watches. You're just so focused on that value, and then what happens when that watch shoots up? Double or three
Yep.
times the price. Like, you're gonna sell it. Like, what if you love it? That sucks. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, hey, if I was a millionaire, sure, I'd wear a sub like it was a Pagani. No problem. I'd wear it every day. But if if I could afford to buy a sub right now, I'd be eating mac and cheese for the rest of my life, for one. And I'd never wear the damn thing, right? Be worried about somebody breathing on it and getting a scratch on it. And then it's not
Right.
worth more, forget it.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah,
It zaps the fun out of it for me. Like you said, if I had
100%.
millions and millions of dollars, no problem. That then essentially, your Rolex watches are Pagani designs. If it doesn't affect your bank account like
Exactly.
that, have at it.
Exactly.
Have
Exactly.
absolutely. Let me see. Let me just check the comments and make sure everybody's saying hello to each other, interacting. I love it. I love it, guys. For those who just joined, there is a link to join the stage if you want to. We're just having a casual rant here and going through some questions. Me and my man DMW just hanging back and relaxing on a Friday. This is what it's about. All right. So I'm curious to see in chat. Get involved in this one, man, because I'm really like, I don't know where this question lands, to be honest with you. I mean, I've done research. I want to know what you think, DMW, for sure. So, watch winders, good or bad, man? Talk about it. Tell me.
Honestly, okay. Uh, Coming from kind of a mechanical background with vehicles and things like that, just regardless, you run your vehicle endlessly without giving it a break, you're going to wear out the parts faster. Period. That's just logic, or at least it should be. So I would think the same for a watch, man. You keep it going, keep it going, keep it going all the time. It's going to wear out the wearable parts quicker, and the lubrication is going to wear out faster. Vintage watches, little bit different story, because if it hasn't been serviced recently, you don't have the benefit of the updated lubrication technologies, right? Because the new silicone lubes and things like that are 100% better than what they used to be.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
they don't degrade like they used to. So
Right.
if you have a brand new watch, yeah, it can sit on the shelf for 30 years and you pick it up and wind it. It's perfect. Now,
Right.
back, maybe you got a watch from now, from 50 years ago now. Yeah, you better service it before you play with it, honestly, because everything's going to be just stiff and goopy inside, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that
I would say no. I would say bad. Yeah. Long answer, bad.
No, dude, no, it's all good, man. I want the long answer because this is something that listen, the gut feeling is that, yeah, like you just said, I mean, you're just running and running and running the watch. And there are appropriate occasions, right? I think that there's some annual calendars or something like that. I forget exactly the complication that you don't want to disrupt. And especially like on very high end, I think you
Yeah.
have to take some watches back to the watchmaker to have it
Yeah.
readjusted. So that's
Yeah.
a
I've
nightmare.
seen,
Yeah,
forget
so
it.
that
Yeah.
makes sense. And then to touch on your point with the lubrications and the oils in the watches from back then not being as advanced, I think if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were using animal fat at one point.
Most
It
likely.
wasn't like synthetic stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Most
man. I
likely.
mean, a vintage watch for sure. You definitely don't want to play around with that. You at least you should do your homework and see when it's been serviced and what kind of you know, lubrications are in that watch currently and everything
Oh,
else.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Like a new old stock from 50 years ago, I wouldn't even
mhm,
wind it.
yeah, 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 that's true. I mean, I had a watch winder specifically for my SKX, right? Not a big
Yeah.
deal, right? You just have to change the day and the date and to line it up, and it's a quick 1, 2, 3, and then we all know the Shako shake. I always mess that up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Shako shake that you have to do for it. So,
Yeah.
but is that really, grounds to keep that movement running all the time? No, no, definitely
No.
not. So I
But if
took it
you're
off.
going to be wearing it every 3-4 days anyway, like you put it on every third day, well, it dies every second day, right? Well, okay, keep it on a winder. You can wear it that often. Sure, whatever. Keep it wound. It's always ready to go. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
I
another
like,
topic that came up. Like I had somebody in the what do you call it in social media platform. They made a post about being concerned about keeping all their watches running, and I thought it was a little funny because they were just like juggling like winding their watches in the watch box to make sure it doesn't die. And I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that. I mean, listen, if you enjoy doing that, have at it. Go for it. But again, it goes to that point. Like, I don't think
yeah,
that you should have a watch sitting for too long either. That's a gut feeling. I don't have any
yeah,
research to back that. But
yeah,
again, if you have that watch sitting for a month or even 2 months, it's probably not a big deal. We're talking about like 6 months to a year where you're just going back to a car.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's very relatable to a car. You don't want to have that car sitting and it's meant to be run
Sure.
at a certain point. So, I thought that was like a little knee slapper
And,
as far as
for sure. And unless it's like a sentimental piece, like you said before, well, why is it sitting in your collection for 6 months to a year without being worn? In
right.
that case, well, hey, get rid of it, trade up, trade sideways, whatever you're going to do, flip it to
Yeah.
something you are going to wear.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's where it comes into play of like just like currently I'm like I said I have my watches on ice. Like before you decide what you really want to do, like do nothing, right? If you don't know what to do nothing
Yeah.
is my motto.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's like if you don't put on that watch for 6 months to a year, like you said, it's time to go. It's time to make room.
Yeah,
It's just taking up space. You have no connection to it at that point.
exactly.
Dave D's being a little comedian over here. I think some people are still using animal fat in their watches.
Yeah.
Oh man. What else do we got here? Oh, okay. So on watch winders, I used them for a short time. Ultimately, said I didn't need one extra. Yeah, that's exactly what happened with me. I had a really cool one too, man. It was one that
That's the way
was
I feel.
just like see-through, all glass, and it kind of did like a 360 kind of turn, and it was just really cool. But ultimately, I was like, I don't want to just burn out my watch.
I think it's a cool little, thing to have, right? It's a
Yeah.
watch thing to have. Like I got a little space guy or a little underwater guy that holds my watch every night, you know, when I on my side beside my bed, you know, silly little things like my Rolex clock and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah. No, I was actually. I'm probably gonna pick one of those up too, like those little space dolls that have their hands out and
Yeah,
it's holding the watch like that. Like, yeah,
exactly.
they're fun.
Exactly.
They're just. Or have you seen the ones where it's like a robot, a whole robot, and then the watch is like its face when you put it in there?
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
The dude, those are expensive, man.
They are. I was like, I'm gonna get one of those. I looked it up. I was like, I'm not getting one of those.
Just go to. I'll tell you right now. Go to Toys R Us. Go and get a Meccano set and make your own.
Yeah.
Cost you about $20.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There
Yeah.
you go. Making your own, just like the watches, baby.
Go to a garage sale, pick one up for $3.
Or that. Yeah. True. True. All right. So, what do you value most in a watch when considering it to add it to your collection? So, what's the biggest thing that you guys target nowadays when going after a watch?
That's a deep question. I mean, honestly, if I'm going after something myself, I mean, there's no
Mhm.
sentimentality involved, obviously, right? So then it becomes just for probably the dial. Does catch me. I like dial collecting. You know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
the different colors and how the different things pop, things like that. But
Right.
I don't know. That's a tough question, honestly. Honestly, I really don't know. What about you?
So, what's the biggest thing that I value in it? You know, right now, I think that I have to get it's not one thing, right? Like a dial is a great place to value things. You have that Mr. Wonderful mentality, and I like that. Um, you know what I'm talking about, right? Mr. Wonderful.
Yeah,
He always goes
yeah.
crazy. He don't care about nothing else about the watch. He just talks about the dial, and then he moves on and he
Oh,
buys a little
yeah,
watch that he's like,
yeah.
that dial. I must have it. I must have that dial.
I'm like a crow,
Um,
man. The shiny things, right? Just catch my
yeah.
eye.
Well, listen, when you got his money, why not? But
Yeah,
for me, I think that it's a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. And I think currently speaking, I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I think it's the people that are who's presenting me the watch at this point. I think that has to be the first checkpoint, I would say, right? I want to know who they are. I want to know what got inspired them, and how did we arrive to the models that they put
yeah,
out. I don't want to buy from somebody who's just trying to give the market for what they want. Oh, Tiffany dials are a thing. Let me pump out 15 Tiffany dials. No. I want
yeah,
somebody who says, I built this inspired by this and I do this for that. You know what I mean? Like I like the story to be a checkpoint. And then after that, it's going to be what they put into the watch, what they put into the movement, man. I think that that's just something that we
mhm,
tend to let that slip because we get so,
yeah.
shock valued from the aesthetics. But I think that that's going to be probably like a little bit of everything, right? You have to have a little bit of everything, but those are going to be my two main things that I'm going to look at my next watch is coming in for
Yeah.
sure.
I'll have to amend my answer because I misunderstood the wording of the question because I answered you wrong. Because yeah, okay, the dial is the first thing I see, but that's not the
Mhm.
first thing I value lately. And in my next purchase, for sure, is going to be build quality. Honestly, um, I hate to say it again, man. I was completely blown away by this Steinhardt. It's a homage, just like a thousand others, but there's a
Yeah.
difference. Have you ever held a Zelos, for instance?
I haven't had the pleasure to be honest. Well, oh man, I don't know if they were at the Watch and Wine, and I did grab one. I don't think they were. I don't think I had the pleasure.
No.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, there's a difference, man. Like for the price between a Seiko, like a $500 Seiko and a $500 Steinhardt, the
Mhm.
feel of this thing is on a completely different level, man. The finishing is if they can do this for this price with this movement, this is kind of a benchmark. This is kind of what I expect to see at this price from now on. And if they're not doing this, well, come on, you guys. And with Seiko, I'm a Seiko fanboy, but Seiko's got a lot of work to do in a lot of areas. I don't know how they're still getting away with it. But. So yeah, for me, at this point, my next step, without a doubt, build construction. Secondly, like you said, 100%. Build construction is going to come from the micro brands because they're the ones putting in the extra value for your dollar. But second point would definitely be the story. Is there a reason behind it? Or are you just there to make money? And hey, I don't give a damn. I can totally respect that too. That's fine. But if there's a really cool story behind it, hey, everybody's, you know, like you said, it'll be that next one will be not necessarily the watch, but it'll be the story you connect to first. And then that'll drive you to the watch, right? So I can respect that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm really grateful that you shared that, man, because I think that also is something that's common in everybody's journey. You know, I don't know who's watching this and where they are in their journey, but I'd love for these truths to come out because this might help somebody out, you know, skip a couple of steps or really just think about things as while they're adding things to their collection. So like your point of access, your first thing is the build quality and everything else. And even when going for that homage style, you know, you have a level of expectancy now after acquiring that, and you can't go backwards, right? So yeah, it'd be a lot easier for you to throw $500 watches in your collection, but now you see, you know, they're not going to be worth this one watch at the end of the day for me. So there you go. You know, you just narrowed it down for yourself. So that's awesome, man.
Yep. On point, man.
That's awesome. All right, let's see. What did wifey say over here? Hubs is all about the ball. She's out of me. I'm a sucker for blue dials, man. I mean, yeah, that was like the easiest point of access for me. If you had a blue dial and you had a sunburst, I was looking at you. I was definitely considering it already. And I think that the blue dial, I think that has to be the most common colorway for people to get excited about personally. You know, maybe I'm wrong, but
I would say it's probably the most accessible to have a bright color on your wrist, because not everybody's going to wear a bright orange or a bright yellow or, you know, a bright green even. But blue, that's for men or for women, it's very, very accessible color, you know.
Yeah, man, I never thought about that. I never thought about that. It's an easy way to get a vibrant color added to your collection without it having to be too harsh and worrying about how am I going to pull this off type of thing.
Yeah, you know it's almost neutral, right? It's like when you're having a baby, you paint everything yellow and green and neutral colors.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What do we got here? Space G agrees. Blue dials rule all.
Nothing wrong with a beautiful blue dial.
Dave D, for me, it's looks, movement, and size. Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. You know, at the end of the day, when you look down at your watch, you know, like I have a lot of watches that when I look down at it, it puts a smile on my face. We all can relate to that. So that's probably a pretty important thing. Yeah. And then the movement is the quality of the works. So obviously he's putting that second. You know, he wants to put a smile on. He wants to know it's reliable. And he wants to make sure it fits on his wrist.
That's right. That's right.
That makes a whole lot of sense.
And movements are like hot sauce, man. It's all personal.
Yep. I tell you what, man, along with my journey of knowledge with these, I also have to do some homework on these movements. I really need to. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what's better than an NH35. I mean, I know they're out there. I know there's, I'm not saying that NH35 is end all be all, but what I'm telling you is that I don't have a point of comparison right now. I know Miyotas, some people say this, some people say that, but, you know, responsibly, I got to do some homework.
Depends what you're comparing. Honestly, price point, NH35 all day long.
Yeah.
Reliability, I'd still go with the NH.
Yeah.
After that, what is there? You know,
yeah.
For the size difference, anything close would be the Miyota. But then you have potential reliability, and then I guess Miyotas have a bad shake to them. for whatever reason, the rotor. Oh, it's a rotor spin. That's right. The rotor free spins because they only wind one direction.
Okay.
So you'll move your arm and then you'll feel the rotor on your wrist just continue to spin.
Oh,
Bugs
okay.
some
I got
people,
you.
but I don't know, man. Honestly, a half a step up, probably the Miyota 9 series. They're thinner, so you can get it into a thinner case profile.
Right.
You know, it's made by Citizen, so
Mhm.
can't really complain there. They're reasonably priced as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And to go, way back to your point before about Seiko, I mean, yeah, they have a lot of ground to make up, and they have been pissing people off. But dude, that movement and what they continue to give us,
Yeah,
right? The GMT, dude, the affordability, like they'll
yeah,
always have a level of respect and love from us because of what they've given us and what they've made
yep,
accessible to everyone.
100%. I saw a post not long ago. I don't remember where, but it was pointing out, and I think rightfully, that Seiko, at least at this point for sure, is making more from their NH movements than, like, they're making more NH movements for modders and for micro brands than they're making their own movements for their watches right now.
Right. Wow.
And
I
that's
believe that.
insane.
Oh yeah. No, listen, I
So
believe it, especially when you're talking about like the rise, if you will, of independent brands.
yeah,
I think that 9 times out of 10, an independent brand's going to start off there just because that's just the affordability and that's what the business bank account allows for. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can
for sure.
separate yourself enough with design and build a brand from there, uh, it's night and day. And then you have Pagani Design. It's not just the independent brands; it's all the homage people.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much market for that. So they're just pumping these things
100%.
out, and they're so reliable. They're so just they could take an absolute beating. And the
Yeah,
caveat to that is that when it's ready for a service, just replace it for like 30
you
bucks.
got it. You got it. And it's way cheaper to actually do that than it is, to service them.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, like I was starting to have a panic attack. I was like, what am I going to do with these 40 watches when they need a service? And I'm like, wait a minute. Half of them, if not more, are NH35s because of my custom
Yeah,
builds, homages, whatever the case may be. I'm just going to throw away the movement. I'm just going to replace it. I get to do that
yeah,
myself because I dabbled, you dabble, But even if you don't, you take it to a watchmaker. You say, hey, this is the movement for this. I need you to take the old one and put the new one in. It can't cost as much as it would for a full service. So there's your answer.
there you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. XCal, what's up, brother, man? Welcome in. XCal saying hi. Aragon's a great watch. Space 9015. I'm guessing
Yeah,
that's also Miyota.
yeah, that's that's a nice thin movement. It's about a
Okay.
millimeter and a half thinner, or a millimeter and a half thinner than the NH. So
Right.
it's a chunk
Right.
thinner.
Exactly. Gotcha. All right. What's the next question I have here? Hang on one second. Let's take off this comment. Do you like to be gifted random watches? This one is sponsored
Oh,
by
hell
the wife.
yes.
She asked me this question.
I mean, who doesn't? Come on now. I'll take a free watch any day.
Yeah. So what was I going to say? So okay. Here's my only thing about it, right? I told her absolutely, but right, there's a but on there. Because where I am in my collection journey, right? Because I want to just be more selective. What if they get you a watch that's just not you? You know, what do you do then? Like, do you have things that are preset to avoid
Mm.
being gifted a watch you don't, or do you just take the watch and like, what do you do? Let's be honest here. Let's get the the details.
Well, to be fair,
Uh-huh.
I've always been kind of bah humbug, Christmas gifts, birthday, whatever. I could really care less, so you want to get me something? Hey, get me a gift card. I'm happy with a gift card kind of thing. I'm one of those people. Or to ask me what I want. We'll go shopping together. That works out great. So I'm kind of safe there because The only ones that would the only surprises are from my kids.
Mm.
And at that point, well, hey, you just love it anyway, right? It don't matter.
Yeah, of course,
But
absolutely. Yeah, so that's good
but what
that you gave us that
what
detail. Like,
I don't know, what would you do? Try and duck out real polite, man. Like, I guess, right?
yeah, I guess
Don't let
so.
them
I mean,
know that you flipped it.
I guess, yeah. Hopefully they don't go, "Hey, where's that watch that I get you? I never see you wearing it."
Yeah, don't call you on it. Oh shoot, yeah, that thing fell off the balcony. Sorry.
Yeah, I
You
forgot to
say.
tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I don't mind it at all, but I think the safest thing to do if you're worried about putting something in your collection that's not really you just give them the fair warning. Say, hey, if you're thinking about gifting me a watch, no problem. I'll send you the list.
Yeah. Well, though, if somebody's gonna look at giving you something like that, hopefully they're looking at your wrist in the first place to see what you're wearing. So they have at least a ballpark to work in, right?
Hmm. Yeah, that's fair enough.
I would hope for that at least.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the wife definitely does that. She knows pretty
Oh,
much what I like,
she
what I
better
don't
know.
like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she better
exactly.
know.
Yeah, no, she does, dude. I mean, come on, they're a lot better than that at knowing what we like than the other way around.
That's right. Blue dial between 1,000 and 1,500. That's pretty easy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. You have a plentiful selection from
Oh
there.
yeah, lots to choose from.
Cow. My mom bought me a watch that is super cheap and super ugly, but it's in my collection because it came
Exactly.
from her. Yeah, there you go. There you go. See, that's
Yeah.
why. All right, Cow. That's why when I started this, I said that I have 31 watches that I want in my collection, minus the watches that were gifted to me and that have sentimental value. Now, I've been incredibly lucky that I actually do like all the watches that were given to me. And I'm not just saying that because my wife's not here. But you know, it still rings a bell
Just
as
waiting
far as
for a
having.
shoe to come flying by.
No, I'm in a different location, so I'm safe. I can say whatever I want. It's getting home that would be the problem. But
Oh,
she has an incredible eye. She knows, and I even not from her, right? Like my brother's giving me gifts, everybody's giving me gifts, and they've hit it now pretty much on the head, man. Like I've been very fortunate. But if I was given a watch like Cal was, and he didn't favor it, Mama Dukes gives you a watch, man. You love that thing,
yeah.
no matter what it is.
See, I got the same problem, I have to say. My mom gave me a watch years ago. And yeah, that's one that'll stay in the collection just because it came from her. And I like kind of like it, but it's not something I'm really gonna wear ever.
Mhm.
But it's not going
Careful
nowhere.
now.
It's from the mom.
Be careful now. This is all
Exactly.
recorded.
She'll never see this, so that's all good.
Okay. Sorry, mom.
Not unless I
I hear you. What's your favorite micro brand? My
Mm,
favorite. I'm gonna let DMW. You know what? I'm trying to think. My favorite. I'll be honest with you. I can't answer that question for you right now. I'm just I'm too green to all the different ones that are out there. I mean, I have a couple of them in mind. I would say, CW. I would say Zelos. But they're only pure aesthetic reasons because I haven't really had the time to sit down and really take apart the independent brand
yeah,
that I would like the most, and that's just me being honest.
yeah,
Jack Mason. Jack, you know what? I think
yeah,
that if I had to answer that question right now today, it would probably be Jack Mason. Specifically their GMT watches, man. They do an incredible job of making that watch just look so modern, so luxurious, so shiny. It literally
yeah,
is just a shiny watch. Like when I went to the show and I saw those watches, man, like they look wet, like they look like shiny, glistening. And I love that kind of look, man, that modern look to it. I think that they do an incredible job building great watches. And I'm definitely going to add one of those in my collection. How about you, DMW?
that's difficult, man. I completely agree with you. Christopher
Mhm.
Ward, I honestly think they're pushing the boundaries of not being a micro brand anymore.
Oh yeah,
Just
that's a good
they're
point.
getting big, but I'd still keep them in there for the time being. At the moment, um, Zelos, Zelos has always been incredibly good. I like some of Aragon's watches, but they're too big for me.
Okay.
So right now, like I was saying earlier, is the biggest one on my radar at the moment is Revelo. I
Okay.
kind of like a lot of their watches actually, or well, maybe not a lot, but definitely a handful of their watches.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
again, price point, man, you can't really beat what they're asking. I think their new
Mm,
one, their new GMT, and like I was saying, it's DLC coded. I think it's coming out for 350 American. So that's not bad on a bracelet. So that's not horrible.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to say, I think Laurier is another one for me. I think that they focus on like a vintage look,
Yeah.
with obviously modern parts, and like that's the reason why I stepped into my Bambino. And I think that there's somebody else I would have to say for different reasons. Like they're in a different category. Like Jack Mason would be more of my modern, shiny, luxury type of feel, and then Laurier would be that same thing because I don't think I ever foresee myself really getting into like an actual vintage watch. It doesn't excite me, but a
No.
vintage looking watch with modern
Yeah.
parts, oh yeah, I'll double down.
See, I agree with you 100%. I don't want the hassle. I don't want like none of the hassle. Trying to source it legit, trying to deal with it afterward. No, forget it.
Yeah, I hear you. Oh, Space G, you exposed me. Yeah, I just realized that it said Mrs. Sorry, babe. That question was for you, so I just had to take the spotlight on it. But yeah, absolutely. What do we? All right, so where were we? Where were we? So gifted, we got through. Oh, just before that, we go to the next one. I just wanted to touch on the Christopher. See, that was brought up on another interview that I saw for some another independent brand. Like, when does an independent brand cross that line? You know, and I think that you know, obviously they can do things to scale and they can start,
Yeah.
growing as a brand and become. But I think that if you start off as an independent brand like that nowadays, I think that you will always be looked upon as an independent brand. Personally, that's my personal opinion, right? And it's not a bad thing to say. I think that that is a phenomenal thing to say, to be one of the top dogs for the independent brands and to scale, whether or not you get into so many places. But my feeling is also that these independent brands don't want to cross over and blur those lines. I think that showing up to the events and connecting to the people is their bread and butter, and it really puts them in the map. And if they're really paying close attention to having respect from their come up, if you will, I think
Yeah.
that you'll never stop being an independent brand because you're always going to be in the shows as the owner, like not
Yeah.
salespeople there. Like you're the actual owner showing appreciation, throwing events, like just things that the bigger brands don't do. And if you lose focus on that and you just worry about being corporate, it's a shame in my book. And it kind of is a
Yeah.
turnoff for me.
100%. And hopefully they kind of stay the way they are. They're reasonably humble still, but
Right. Yeah, it's
I
tough
agree
though.
with you.
It's easy
Yeah.
for us to say that, but when you start getting
Oh,
bigger and you're thinking about continuing to grow, and then you already have that following, and all
yeah,
it is signing at the dot, and then all of a sudden you're everywhere, and you can. To be fair,
exactly.
it's hard. It's hard to
Yeah,
not
come on.
lose sight of that.
Be People aren't honest with themselves when they complain about people selling out. Get
Mhm.
real. Everybody's going to sell out for enough.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, they're just not honest if they say they won't. So,
I mean, it's the bottom line for every company, every business to get
sure.
to the point where somebody's going to sign you a big fat check where you never
Sure.
have to work a day in your life. And am I going to be mad that
Yeah,
another man is going to take that bag to be secure for the rest of his life? How could I be? How could I be? That's the
exactly.
whole point of it.
Yeah.
Enjoy,
Go ahead.
enjoy them on the way up.
That's right. Call me a sellout. I'm
Yeah,
fine.
exactly. Call me a sellout all you want. I'll be
Yeah, that's
sipping
right.
my drink on a beach somewhere while you're saying
You
it.
just keep adding zeros until I can look myself in the mirror,
Exactly. Let me look at some of these comments over here. Everybody's showing love to each other. Chat's talking. Enjoy the chat. Beautiful, beautiful. Everybody's having their own conversation. I love it, man. Jump in, guys, whenever you want. Don't let us only. And guys, anybody who joined, there's a link in the chat. You guys can jump on stage. It's probably have to scroll all the way to the top at this point, but anybody is welcome. All right. All right, so I think we pretty much know the answer to this question after having this conversation. Independent brand or big company brand for a luxury watch. I know, this is an easy one for me and you. I think that we're at this point see more value in what you're going to get, not having to pay for the advertisement, getting that value of the story. The list goes on. They're putting these parts into the watch in the independent industry, and you're paying for what they're putting in the watch. Essentially, you're not overpaying.
100%. 100%. And even, some of the larger ones, once they get a little bit bigger, and I'm wondering, I think Christopher Ward is one of them that actually has some of their stuff made in Switzerland. Like, their movements are almost all Swiss, but I think some of their cases and bracelets are actually coming out of Switzerland as well.
Okay.
So, and other brands have pretty much everything polished or finished up there in Switzerland, to hit that 60% mark to call it Swiss made.
Right. So. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if you watch enough interviews with the independent brands and you talk about them networking with factories and everything else, I mean, if you're not doing a true in-house on your movement, guys, you're getting the same movement from the same place. I mean, they're sourcing these parts and they're sourcing this quality of work
100%.
Sometimes from the same exact place. So,
100%.
It becomes like any other luxury good. It's just you're just paying for the name and you're paying for that, that brag right.
That's right.
But, if that's your swag, have at it, man. But don't feel like, oh man, I got to pay $5,000 to $10,000 to jump into something that I could call luxury. No, you don't. You could get an independent brand that's sourcing the parts from the same place. It's going to last the same amount of length. You're going to find watchmakers that are going to be able to service that watch. Like there's really no worry at all. Well, what if they go belly up? And guys, there's watchmakers out there that can service any movement you put in front of them. At the end of the day, they work the same way if they don't have some crazy complication in them. So
that's right.
It's definitely something to look into, man.
Yeah. Well, for instance, Zodiac watches, they're actually made by STP. STP is a movement company. They make movements, but they bought the Zodiac brand and shovel them out the back door.
Right.
Well, STP, unfortunately, not known for making the best movements. Like they make an ETA clone, a 2824 clone. So, but everybody would rather have the Sellita or the ETA. So, yeah, it's one of those brand things. You know what I mean? At this point, I'd rather have something with a Sellita in it.
Right.
But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. There's a lot of different ways you could skin that cat, man. And the point of it all is that, you don't have to go too crazy, to get something that's really a great value and something you can call luxury, like that terminology. 100%. Listen, for some people, $50 is a luxury,
I was just going to say that, man. Some people, that $10 Casio on your wrist is a luxury. So what difference does it make? Luxury is all perspective. 100%.
There you go. There you go. Well said. All right, man. Here we go. So should we be measuring wrist width instead of circumference? Man, somebody put a post on the socials about that. Very valid. And it's something that has rattled my mind too. And I'm like, why is everybody telling me what their wrist size is, in circumference, when really you're just worried about the lugs hanging off the side of your wrist? Right. At the end of the day.
Yeah, because you don't. There's no reference to watch size when you talk about how big it is on your wrist, other than the lug to lug, right?
Right.
So why? Yeah, no, I think that's extremely valid question, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think we should all change, like when we're giving measurements for reference, like, which is a great thing. It's just us trying to, communicate information, and you're wearing a watch, and I want to know how big your wrist is, if it's going to fit my wrist. But at the end of the day, my width of my wrist may be larger than yours, but you have a larger circumference. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. And
Sure.
I listen. Do whatever you want. If you don't mind lugs hanging off the side of your wrist, have at it. For me, that wouldn't work. And so that measurement's the only thing that really truly matters to me, in my personal opinion.
I think for sure. I think at least maybe add the metric. Maybe not like maybe it don't change it, but maybe add that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. Just put it at the end of the regular circumference that you would give, and then that makes a lot of sense, man, because that's the most important measure. I mean, I think pretty much everybody knows for themselves, how thick they want the case to be off of their wrist, whether it be a 13, oh, that's too big, they want to be sub 13, that's usually like the breaking point for most people, like where it's like, oh, that's too much heft, you know what I mean? Yeah. But, we all talk about lug to lug. I mean, that just goes hand in hand with the width size of your wrist, So adding that at the end, we might start something new, me and you.
Yeah.
We might start a movement.
You'd have to figure out how to measure that accurately, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would just take the measuring tool that you would use for a regular watch and just put that against your wrist for me to get that, accuracy.
I guess so.
Get that millimeter from point N to point B.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Fire it.
Do you wear your watch above the wrist bone or below?
Oh, man. So 100% unequivocally, I wear it above. Like, if it drops past that point of your wrist, if it drops past this bone right here, I lose my mind. I don't like the feeling of the watch against the bottom of my wrist. Oh, man. For me. So, all right. I'm really annoying when it comes to sizing my watches for that reason, right? Because when you don't like the watch to drop below that bone in your wrist, then you have to get it to a size where it's tight, right? It's around the wrist where it's not going to go past that, but it's not choking your wrist. So the way that I do it is whenever I remove a link, I do like a little shake. I do the wrist check shake, right? I go like this. And if it doesn't drop down and I don't feel the watch around my wrist when I go like this, then that's perfect. Then I know, okay, that's where I have to be. No more, tweaking it. You still have on some different, whether it be metal or whether it be a strap, there'll be a little bit of shifting. I don't mind a little bit of shifting, but man, if it drops past that bone, it's going on the bench, baby. It's getting adjusted.
Wow. see, for me, that would be too tight. I don't think I would be comfortable with it being too like that tight there. Okay. I'm kind of the other way. Just, that I'll let it hang, but I don't mind it coming back. It's just the tiniest bit loose. What do you do on fat days? Or like those hot summer days where you get all swelly, like, because at that point you don't got any space to adjust, do you?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, that would be the only issue on a bracelet, obviously. So I'll be honest with you. Majority of my bracelets have the diver extension where you can do those micro adjustments.
All right.
So it's solvable for that for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then, like anybody else, I mean, a lot of people in seasons, right? They'll go to a strap during the summer because they know they have that fluctuate in weight, and everything else. So, I also have like 3 straps to every watch. But if I really love a watch on bracelet, 9 times out of 10, it's going to have that diver extension. If not, then it has the little micro adjust. So just, tap that pin, do your little adjustment. And then at that point, I'll probably leave it a little bit loose. Like, listen, I'm not going to drive myself that crazy, right? If I'm going from temperature to temperature, I'm not poking that pin and switching it out. But, I'll allow a little bit more movement in the summertime for that. So that's just how I solve that. But I'm neurotic. I'm super neurotic. Like, I'll go back to the same bracelet like 3 or 4 times just because I feel like I can get it a little bit better. But, I enjoy that. I poke fun at the guy that wants to wind all his watches and juggle them. But, if it doesn't bother you truly, then
Okay.
we all have our neurotic parts about how we want to wear our watches and what makes us happy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I got a question for you. Well, actually, you answered that, right? You said you leave you leave it a little loose, right? You don't mind. So when you say that, do you mind when the watch goes all the way down and like when you flex it, the crown's digging in? You don't care about that?
No, that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
That doesn't bother me at all.
Gotcha.
Even the
Gotcha.
3 o'clock crown, I mean, I don't, if I was to, I don't know, if I was to push myself up off of something real heavy, hard, that might bug me. But at that point, I just push the watch back. It's fine.
Right.
But no, it doesn't bug me.
Gotcha.
I like that little bit of looseness.
Yeah, I think the most common thing is just like not a seriously super tight, around your wrist. I don't think anybody's like, I like to choke my fucking wrist.
No,
just,
yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no, that'll be too much. What was the other question I was gonna ask you, man? I should have asked you before I go on tangents, brother. I'm terrible.
Oh, that's all right.
Actually, let me see what the chat's talking about. Gotta show love to the chat. It's hard because they're like talking amongst themselves. I love that. I love that the chat's going
yeah,
back and forth with each other. They're having their own like side conversation. They're like, man, Skyler's not getting to the chat fast enough. Let's talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, not paying attention to us.
Yeah,
that's good though.
Well, what about the straps? Do you switch out like how often do you switch out your straps? Like, is it a seasonal thing or is it a feel thing? Like, what is it for you?
No, I'd say more of an activity thing, actually. I personally prefer bracelets. I'm not a huge strap fan at all.
Okay.
I've got some Artem straps that I don't, I did the reviews on them, and I don't wear them. I have a bunch of StrapX Pro straps that I sell, and they're rubber straps, but they're great actually for summer and for, like you were saying, when you're out being too warm, like a bracelet sometimes feels too heavy. Having a rubber strap's kind of nice, or swimming or doing anything like that, or roughhousing for any reason. They're perfect for that. So yeah, it would be rubber or bracelet, but I don't switch out very often. Like, it would be activity for sure for me. Activity.
Okay. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, I've found myself getting more attracted to having stuff on bracelet more than other things, but at the same time, like I have other watches that just sit on different straps because I don't know. Sometimes I'm in a natal mood, and sometimes I'm in wearing rubber, whatever it is. Like I have all of them kind of situated in a different way, but a majority of them are sitting on bracelet right now because I don't know, I'm in the mood to have that heft and have that quality, feel that click,
I think that's what it is for me too. It's that security blanket, the weight of having it there,
Right.
Like
exactly.
I love the idea of titanium watches, but the one that I have, I don't find it heavy enough. I find it's a novelty because it's metal, but it's so bloody light.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense.
But I can't wear my G-Shock because it's plastic and it just weirds me out that it's just so light.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's how I feel when I'm wearing this watch. When I'm wearing the and I'll be honest with you, man. I love this watch, but I was changing the time on it, man. I'm like, damn, this watch is cheap. I was like, I knew what I was stepping into, and I have a lot of fun with it. And it's a novelty thing altogether for this watch. To be honest with you,
what do you think of the new one?
Oh man, let's talk about it, So
the Snoopy.
Yeah, the Snoopy. I saw a bunch of people, doing their post about it on YouTube. What do I think about it, man? It doesn't really faze me. I mean, I kind of get to the point now with all the new releases that they do, and I'm just like, oh, cool. And then I
Yeah.
move on with my day. You know what I mean? Like, I'm definitely not getting any urge to get this. I think the only chance that this watch has for getting my dollars is if the wife was like, "Oh, I like the all white one. Can you get me that?" And then
Yeah.
I jump at any chance to put a watch on her wrist, right? So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
not saying that it's a woman's watch at all. I'm just saying that, specifically, they got me once, they ain't gonna get me again, type of thing, you know.
I
Um,
I don't understand. I really don't understand the big names with their collaborations with something like a cartoon character. You know,
okay,
like Swatch, absolutely. Like that. To be honest, this is the Omega Snoopy that should have been made from the beginning. They shouldn't have made the Speedmaster
right,
Snoopy. That's ridiculous. Fifty
yeah,
thousand dollars for a watch with freaking Snoopy on it? Get bent. This thing, that's funny. That's cute. I like it. You know what I mean? That I would spend my few $100s on. That I would consider. You know,
right, right,
I
right.
think they're still shit. Don't get me wrong. No offense. I think like it's a quartz watch. It's a decent enough watch, but what they're trying to do with it, I think is ridiculous. Like, come on, it's a
No, for
Swatch.
sure,
It's not
for
an
sure,
Omega, you know? It's
right.
it's a nice watch for what it is. Don't try to make it more than that. But
Yeah, no, 100% a money grab. I mean, look, it's
oh
$310.
yeah,
Why? Why is this
exactly.
$310? Stop it. I mean, they're
Sure.
just not even ashamed anymore to just
No,
make
well,
it for what it is. You know what I mean?
sure. Well, hey, if it's gonna be a quality, if it's a $300 watch, that's fine. It's a $300 watch, but it's not a special edition Omega. Blah blah blah. No, it's not. Like they did, the rights cost less than that just to put the Omega branding on.
Oh,
I don't
100%.
know. It's a money grab, like you said, 100% money
Yeah.
grab.
Yeah, it's a
This is
money
the
grab,
Snoopy
man.
watch that should have been made though from the beginning.
Oh yeah. I mean, instead of like they came out with those renditions of like the second hand being gold, and that was the only difference. I mean, I think that was complete nonsense. And I think if they were going to
Absolutely.
do a re-release to grab some more attention again, this is the direction that they should do it. I mean, they should
Hmm.
play with all the characters you want to at that point, and just
Yeah,
switch it up that way.
yeah, but do it on this watch. Do it on the
Oh yeah,
Swatch. They uh, don't put another put Daffy Duck on the next uh whatever Rolex or Speedy just because, right?
right.
I think that's ludicrous. But hey, they went off the shelves like they were flying. So
Yeah,
people with more
yeah,
dollars than cents, man.
yeah, man. And listen, it's not going to stop there, man. I mean, you talk
No.
about that AP. I think AP did it. The Black Panther.
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
AP?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All of them are getting involved in doing something along the lines. I mean,
Yeah.
listen,
I can
it sells.
I can get behind it. I think AP did it though with the intention of they only made a very small amount of them, like just a few, and a portion of that went to his family or something happened with some of the proceeds, and
Mhm.
and I think the first one was auctioned off. I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was at least a bit of a story behind that. But
Mhm.
and I think they came out with the Spider-Man one. Well, come on,
Right.
now that's a money grab. Like, really? And could
Yeah.
you imagine? Really, that's an expensive watch with Spider-Man on it. Woo,
Hey, listen,
bragging rights. And which
bragging rights
Spider-Man
is
is
cool.
it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, look, try to get yourself that Black Panther. You can't. You try to get
Oh,
yourself the other watches. You can't.
no.
So, we could say everything that we want. If it doesn't
Okay.
sit on the shelf, it did its job.
Isn't that the truth, right? Our opinion is worth nothing at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I mean, for my own personal opinion, yeah, it doesn't excite me. It doesn't move the needle at all. I mean, it's cool, you know.
Yeah.
And if somebody pulls up in it, I'd want to take a peek at it. I'd want to look. Am I going to run down to the store and try to grab it? Absolutely not. No,
Yeah.
I've got my fun piece, and I took no offense to what you said about the watch before at all, dude. It's like
Oh,
when
no,
I
no,
went,
no.
yeah, not at all. When I went to go pick this up, man, I knew what I was spending my money on. I knew that it was bioceramic, plastic, blah blah blah. I
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be crazy quality. I
You're
have this watch to have fun. That's it.
you're buying a Swatch. You're not buying an Omega.
Right.
That's the thing that people need to understand, and you at least understand that 100%.
Right, right. And here's a gentleman, Jose. He says, for more than 50 years, Snoopy has contributed to the
Yeah.
excitement of NASA human, space flight mission, helping inspire generations. Yeah, absolutely. Listen.
Completely agree. And see,
Perfect.
that's
Perfect
where,
example.
yeah, and see, this is where kind of what I was saying before. In my opinion, my 2 cents. Snoopy's a cartoon character. Put him on a cartoon watch. You know,
Right,
the like the Swatch. So,
right.
but that's my thing.
No, yeah.
The Speedmaster went to the moon. That's true. So did Bulova. Bulova can't afford the rights to Snoopy, I guess.
Boulevard had to sneak their way up there. They're like,
That's
here,
right.
put this in your pocket, okay? Tell them yours failed.
Right.
Here's a bag of money. Come on,
Yeah.
don't tell me the Omega failed. Don't tell me that. Stop it.
No, I don't buy that. But it's kind of
Nah.
funny that he took a cheap watch like a Bulova. Well, I guess they weren't cheap in the day. Like back then, they were pretty good. So
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true, man. So I think where we at now? Yeah, we're past an hour, man. I'm gonna wrap things up. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I appreciate you though for coming on DMW, man. It's always great to have a conversation with you.
hey, no
And
problem. Sounds
everybody,
good.
absolutely, man. Everybody on chat that joined in, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the love and support. Hope to see you all in the next time. DMW, you're always welcome, man. Sometimes I'll go on rants on my own, but I love having this back and forth. I think that it's very helpful for other people getting our insight. And never know where somebody's journey is, or if they're teetering on an idea that we all have. It's just point of it all. Like we're all just enjoying the conversation and learning from one another. That's what watch collecting is
For
about.
sure. Hey, it's
All
about
right,
the
guys.
journey, man. Not always about the destination.
There you go. There you go. And with that, guys, I'm going to say have a great weekend, and hope I can do this again next week. And I appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Cheers, man.
Peace.
Have a good one.
All right.